Welcome to Momivate Momversations on the Win-Win Women platform, where we women care, connect, and collaborate. What a great opportunity we have to get together here. What a win-win for us all. I am Leah Westover, your host, and I'm so grateful to join you today. What a pleasure. I am a mother of 8. And it's been a wonderful journey, 32 years and counting. I am co-founder of Momivate, the nonprofit organization. And we'd like to invite you and welcome you to our Momivate community. Okay, Mom Unity is what we like to say. We are moms united in our conviction that motherhood is a practical and meaningful way to make the world a better place. Join us and become a mom. A Mom Unity member is free on our website at momivate.org. And together we'll constructively evolve motherhood into the 21st century, meeting the needs of our children while elevating our mothering experience. Here at Momivate, we ask the questions, what do moms do anyway? Well, with this uplifting statement, moms raise up society. Raise Up is an acronym, jam-packed, far-reaching impact of intentional mothers who strive to improve and progress, knowing motherhood is a multi-dimensional occupation. We're not just chauffeurs or short order cooks. As we take on repetitive, long work or loving work that shapes our children, it shapes us and it shapes society. The impact of our efforts ripples beyond our homes. Because as moms, we are uniquely positioned to influence society one-on-one. Today, we are going to focus on schedules and systems, the category of this acronym, and we're going to go even more narrow and dig deep into the specific subcategory of education and learning. Okay. Welcome again, and we're so excited to get down and get dirty. I'm going to take you a minute and let you go quickly, and if you don't have a notebook or don't have a piece of paper to write your notes on, go grab one, or your Smile journals, which you are able to get free at momivate.org as you join our Mom Unity. I like to take the opportunity to have, I guess, ponder time, a time to be able to write down your thoughts and ideas and impressions you get. Because as moms, we get them. We are so, I don't know, I'm special and blessed to be able to have inspiration for ourselves and for our children. So writing it down is really important because sometimes we think, oh, this is really good, I'm going to remember it. But life has many distractions, does it not? Yes. And those distractions tend to put those good thoughts and ideas to the sideline. So write it down. Okay, we have our paper, pencil, ready to go, aren't we? All right, during this, so as we review our category systems and schedules, each subcategory follows a set of 6 principles. We're going to review those a little bit in depth. The first one will be vision, then there'll be plan, calendar, implementation, follow through, and make adjustments. So the first principle in schedules and systems of the education and learning our home is our vision. So take a minute, and I'd like you to ask yourself, what is my vision of learning and education in my home? kind of think about that for a second. What does it look like? When we start having a family, we have a vision of what it looks like. I had my child's life planned out. I knew from beginning to end what their life was going to look like. And as life progressed, my vision changed, my understanding changed, and I realized that I was not in control of that future. It was quite an eye-opening, but a beautiful experience for myself. So what is my vision of learning and for education in my home? And is school and studying important? What skills would be most valuable for your children to learn? And what changes would you like to see in your home? What would you like to improve in your home? Think about these things. Take a moment, write down some of your thoughts and ideas, maybe even how it's changed. It was here, and this is now how I perceive it. As we know, each child is different. So if you have more than one, you've identified that not everything works the same as the first one. So take those opportunities and think about your vision. As a mom, we know we get up in the morning, we feed them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So those are kind of set schedules. When do they learn? When is the education time? So as we know, education is more of a formal learning. It's where we have sit-down instructions, we have instructors or teachers to teach a concept, informational. And learning is more of a hands-on, more of an atmosphere. For example, when you had a baby, learning came from your little one cooing and talking as you're doing babble with the baby, right? And then you start saying words and they start saying mama, dada, those are all learning. And then they start rolling over and crawling, and then you're cheering them on to stand up and walk, and they may fall down, but you say, come on, get back up, right? Yeah. And we're cheering them on. And then when it's time to start tying their shoe, is that educational or is that learning? And what about when you sing the ABCs and they start recognizing letters and sounds? Isn't that fun? Isn't it fun to watch our kids shine and be so excited about a new concept that they've discovered? I think it's wonderful, and it makes my heart just tickle. So neat. So learning and education are two different platforms. So when does this happen in your home? A lot of it's normal, like eating time. They're learning how to eat and identify the foods and taste and textures. And as you go through the day, getting dressed, learning how to put on their clothes and take off their clothes. And then they go through that phase that they're going through 5 or 6 outfits a day because it's so fun and exciting for them that they can choose and try different outfits on. What a wonderful opportunity to watch them, to develop and to learn. So how do we keep that learning going? What is your vision? Is your vision to have them depend on you the rest of their life? Or is your vision to have them be self-sufficient? And talking to a few moms, I was asking them, what things would you want to learn about educating learning at home? And one mother mentioned that really teach your children about financial money, the value of it and how to earn it, and that everything has cost money and how to budget. And another mother talked to me about the importance of emotions. We all have so many emotions that we deal with in our lives. We all go through sadness and anger and frustration and disappointment. And how do we handle those? We as a mother are there when they're having the outburst, the temper tantrum, or when they're excited and joyful, and identifying and looking at how we feel when they grab that toy and they've got that face on them. It's like, that's my toy, right? And you're just like, oh, sweetheart, it is your toy. And then teaching them the difference of how they feel versus when they share and how maybe that can make a difference. So those are some things as we just happen upon situations as an opportunity to learn. So also making connections. This was an eye-opener for me. Majority of the literature or the books I used to teach my children to read was mostly sight words. And it wasn't later on until my kids got older and they were really struggling with reading, I asked for additional help and had a tutor come in. And the tutor was explaining that sight words go so far. They can memorize them, but there's not a connection. So as we're raising our children, as we're teaching them, let's remember to connect things to their words, meanings, so that they have an association with those words. A connection to the foods we eat, a connection to the emotions we feel, the love, a mother's connection, that bonding helps, and that trust. So when we're send them off to a public school, charter school, homeschool, whatever your choice of education is as a formal setting, make sure there's a connection and help them understand why that's important at that time in their life. So how does it apply to me? We all want to know, how does it apply to me and why? Also, what are they interested in learning? That's another avenue to look as we're creating our vision. What is their interest? Are they interested in animals? Are they interested in water? Are they interested, where do they get their excitement and their joy? So look for their interest. And another thing to think about as you're creating your vision is don't set the expectations too high. Sometimes when we set expectations high, there comes a lot of disappointment. I love track because when my children are running track, they get their timing. I ran this mile in this minutes, and then they start comparing themselves to their old time. When our children are learning, instead of looking at everybody else and say, oh, this kid was potty trained, this child was potty trained at 2.5 or 1, or there's no comparison except for to the individual child themselves. Celebrate their little accomplishments and help them, kind of identify, what do you want? I have watched some of my daughter-in-law and my daughter give their children choices, and I love that. And usually you're going to wear the red shirt today, or you're going, and then as I got older, like, okay, here's 2 choices. And it's wonderful to watch them have a variety of choices and experience if they like it or not. So we as parents sometimes set our expectations. We want this to happen because it's convenient to us. But let's remember, in our learning and our educational environment, that the child needs to meet their expectations and do better according to what they're accomplishing. That takes me to some of my training that I received when I was with Kimber Academy. Kimber Academy has one of the most incredible parent training seminars out there. I really have enjoyed them. And I'm going to take 3 of my concepts that I'm going to share with you today from their parent training. First one is that I use really often. People are most comfortable with that they are most familiar with. So when we have our children, majority of us are comfortable with changing diapers, changing their clothes, keeping them comfortable, bathing them. I mean, at first it's really hard. This little tiny baby's like, oh my goodness. But as you get familiar with your child and holding them and working with the water, it becomes easier. And we teach, and that's why it's so easy to teach them the ABCs, because when you can teach it easily, it means you really know it and you're familiar with it. So this happens also with okay, let's swing back up. So the things we're most comfortable, another area I'd like to talk about a little bit is I was reading the book Gathering Blue, and that took me to Lois Lowry, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about her. Okay. And so I Googled her on YouTube, and I found a conversation they were having with her as an author. And she was speaking how she was writing her stories that gave her and Gathering Blue with personal experiences. And she was sharing one of her experiences was her parents lived in Tokyo. They moved their family there in Japan. And what I love about it is she pointed out a common characteristic that we as parents tend to do. They moved to Tokyo, and in this city, there is a area where there are American homes. And with those American homes, there's a wall around the homes. And she proceeded to tell how her parents had moved them into this American style home. And I love the story because later she asked her mom and dad, why did you move us there? And her mother said, and father said, well, we moved there because it was safe, it was comfortable, and most familiar. And don't we do that as parents? We try to keep things in where they're safe, comfortable, and familiar. And sometimes that doesn't allow them to stretch out and to be familiar with other things in uncomfortable situations. She proceeds to go on to tell about how she would get on her bike and she would go outside the walls. And she would go to an elementary school and sit there and watch the kids on the playground. And there was a young man there that she never talked to while they're there, but their eyes would meet. And every time she go, the same boy would be there and her eyes, and they would meet. Many, many years later, she met this man at he received award-winning for his drawings. And his grandfather's is called, I can't remember, it's called grandfather's, I know what it is. Sorry. Oh, come on. What is it? Grandfather's. It's down here. There's the store. Yeah. So his name's Alan Say, and the story is called A Grandfather's Journey. Sorry, mine went blank. But I love that they met up and he gave her a copy of his book and she gave a copy of her book to him. And as they got talking, they came to find out that they were those two children in that schoolyard, that they would look at each other. And I think that's why she asked her parents, is like, she's wondering, would she have had a different experience and they would have met and built that relationship way back then than waiting all these years, and that they both write books. I think it's just awesome. Okay, so your vision, you've made your vision, you know what you want. The second principle is make a plan. Choose one skill or way to improve your education or your learning and pick a way to improve it in your home. I know when I have a list of things to do, if I write out a schedule, I know breakfast, lunch, and dinner are certain times, and that I have some blank openings. For my children, learning happened before 1 o'clock. By 1 o'clock, their attention span was done. So we had our skill or our learning earlier in the day, about 10 o'clock, sometimes 11 before lunch. So you pick out a skill and a way to improve, and then they measure themselves or what they're going to do, picking 3 things to help that skill improve, like how long they're going to do it, how many repetitions they're going to do it, learning more about it, studying more, reading more books about it. Whatever works for you. You're the mama and you get the ideas and thoughts what works for your children. But creating a plan helps have a time of when you would like it to happen and give specifics. And then write down the changes to be made and how you implement the system. Of course, this is going to vary depending on age. In my home, systems and schedules was always changing, especially as each school year and they advance to capabilities and new circumstances. In our system and schedules, sometimes it's reading to the older ones, reading to the younger ones, and that increased their reading ability. So other things to teach your children could be self-reliance, skills like cooking, cleaning, organizing, the financial prep. I love when the kids want to do a lemonade stand. That has been always a fun opportunity for them to learn how to use their finances. How much money do you have to start off with? Did you need to borrow some money from mom and dad? And that money comes back after you make it from your lemonade, and you write out, and you take to the store, they pick out the cups, they pick out the flavor, they pick out, those fun, do they need to add sugar to it, and then budget that. And then they come, and how much do they need to sell their lemonade per cup to make their money and to make a profit. And what's really fun is the people who come by and support them with the lemonade and the extra tips that they get. Mom, he gave me $20 for a glass of lemonade. And they're just beaming, right? And sharing with them that, there are people who, appreciate what you're trying to do and want to encourage you. So look for opportunities. I have a neighbor who, her son was telling me, if I want to go to the store, my mom charges me $10 for gas to go certain places, or, depending how far he has to go. But he knows that if he wants to go somewhere that's outside of where his mom's going, that there is a consequence that he needs to help pay for the gas. There are great opportunities with chores and, allowances. People have done allowances and working on the budgeting. Cooking, that is a fun thing, including them on the grocery shopping, have them plan a meal and then give them, take them to the store and let them pick up the items and see how much that is going to cost, and kind of see the value of the financial that way. Teaching your kids to be self-sufficient is important. In our home, our children, if they want a phone, you're going to get a job. So at 15, our kids go out and they get a job and they work, and they not only get to pay for their phone, but they get to go buy, if they want to eat out, or if they want some clothes, or if they want to buy a teddy bear, or, and they learn to, do some donations and pay themselves, and then, have some spending money, and to also save for further expenses. What are some other, so getting them familiar with that, then they're more comfortable in doing that. So we're most familiar with that, we're most comfortable. So, or we're most comfortable, caught me on that one. We're most comfortable with that, we're familiar. So let's continue to expand their horizons, opportunities, and get them to connect to how that works in their life and can help in the future. But applying, that's one of the things kids would tell me. My kids will say, Mom, but how does this math apply to me? And then we have to go through, like the budgeting and going to the store, or savings and other things that apply. But you as a mom knows how that applies to your child and their interests. So think about that. Then the other thought I have here is, we're going to go to, we talked a little bit about different schoolings. You know, you may choose to do public school, private school, charter school, trade schools, but building skills. So as a mom, that's a beautiful part, is we look for those tools to help us to further their education. Colleges are in some people's future, most people's future. Trade schools, we've seen that has been a benefit for some of our children to find a trade. I have a daughter who graduated from cosmetology, and that has just done wonders for her, and taking that skill right out of high school. And let's go ahead and finish this up. This time went by fast. So after you've planned, you want a calendar, talked about calendar, set in time, implement your system and implement your new ideas into your system, and then follow through. What's working, what could be changed, and how do the kids react to the new change, and have a little input for them. Make adjustments if necessary, and then you can create a structure based on your family needs. One of the other things is we wanted to talk about is, I got the other two things. Okay, so anyway, let's go to our slideshow and remind you to write it down. As we have been hearing such good information, I would like to encourage you, viewing audience, to take a moment and write it down, the key points that stuck out to you personally. Make an action plan, and one moment, just like the gears work one movement to another, as one gear works, and you're doing your vision, your planning, your executing your plan, and then re-looking at it and revisiting and making the tweaks so that they all work together in the gears. This half hour has gone by so fast, so it's time to end our recording and start our live interaction with our viewers. If you watch this as a recording, thank you, and for watching. Be sure to catch our live show every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, so you can participate also in the second half hour, where we continue the conversation directly with you, unrecorded. We want you to include yourself in the discussion. That's how Win-Win Women care, connect, and collaborate.